3, 2, 1, go. Alright, what's up guys? I'm going to show you an easy way to make a hand. So I usually do little cute hands, but I'll show you an easy way to make them. Let's get rid of these. So first I always start with a box. And so I'll flatten it. And you know what? Let's do snap so we're looking at it like this, but it's probably going to be this hand. So I start with a box like this. It's pretty good. Maybe I'll make it a little bit thicker like that. Let me change the color of this. Actually, we don't need the backdrop, so let me get rid of it. Okay, so now we have our box, and let me turn off post-process. So the next thing that I do is add, let's label this palm, because that's going to be the palm of the hand, and we can validate it. So let's add a sphere. So something like this. So this is pretty much going to be like this part of the hand. I guess I need more light. So that's going to be like that ball. You can kind of stretch it out too. Something like that. Let me get it off snap. So something like this, just generally. That's where the thumb is going to be. So for the fingers, let's just name this thumb ball. And we can validate it. So then we're going to use the tubes for the fingers. So for the tube path, we don't want snap. So fingers obviously have, so coming up from the palm, there's one section and then there's two sections. So coming up from the palm, there's one section, then there's two sections. And this is the tip of the finger here. So something like that is all we need. We can use the gizmo to sort of move it into place like this. Let's make sure we have it kind of in the middle. And that's perfect. But this is the pinky, so we'll make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so instead of doing all the rest of the fingers, which we could do, we might as well start kind of making this one. So let's tap it and let's tap tube. And let's make it first off a little bit bigger, like this. I think that's great. And then you can sort of figure out if you want like some bends in the sections. So you can actually tap these if you want, like, you know, something like this, just like a natural bend in the finger. That works fine. If you want to make the knuckles a little bit like bigger, you can always go like this. If you want to get real crazy, then you can like add one like right next to it. Whoops. So you can add one like right next to it, like if you want to kind of alter the size a little bit, just to give a little more something. It all depends on what kind of hands you want to do. So you can do something like that. And also one thing that I like to do is sort of offset this one sometimes. Like that. So okay, I think that looks good. So now we can just clone. So we'll go back to the gizmo, we'll hit clone, and you can move this one over. You can still edit it. You can go to tube if you wanted to make it bigger or something like that, or you can just use the gizmo and you can kind of stretch it out. But it doesn't have to be that different, you know, they're just fingers. Move that one there, move that one there. I'll take this one and clone it. Move it over like that. Maybe I'll tilt it a little bit. Clone it again. And then you have the middle pointer finger, which is usually a little bit smaller. It's really just a little bit shorter, but it's okay. We'll shrink it like this. So let's say you wanted to give a little something in the fingers. You could go like that, then you could go like this, Maybe we'll do this one a little bit more. We can go to tube and we can sort of do this. You can sort of move these a little bit. Maybe take this one, go back to our gizmo and say, even move it up a little bit. Which finger's longer? Oh, this finger's longer. The one next to the pinky is longer. So this one, maybe I'll stretch down a little bit. That way the correct finger is longer. And you do have to be careful of little things like this, like just kind of make sure that they should be straight on each axis. And also make sure like things like this, like you want to check the spacing of them. You want them to be spaced evenly. Like this comes straight up and it actually comes out a little bit. So, you know, just, you know, you can use your own hand to sort of like figure out like what looks right and what doesn't. Let's open them up a little bit. So something like that. Looks decent. All right, so now for the thumb, we'll use the tube tool again and we'll just do path. So that's the big part. So we can just look at our thumb here. So we have the round part here. There's like a kind of a knuckle that comes out here, one section, and then the tip. So we have the round part here. This part comes out. This is like the knuckle part, and then this is like the tip. So let's say we want to do something like that. Wait, how did I get all of these? How did I get all these pieces here? There we go. So now we just want to make sure that it's in that little thumb round part. Something like this. And again, you can look at your hand and you can kind of see that the thumb is above all these other fingers. So if we were looking here, this is wrong. Because when we're looking at it, the thumb is actually like this. So just make sure it's in that little ball. So that looks a little better. I can't even do that. Sort of like this. So yeah, that's what I always do. I just look at my hand and just kind of see how things are. So this thumb is like, the flat part is like this. So that's how the thumb is. So we just make sure we go back to the tube. And even though we're doing the hand, we have to make sure that the thumb, well, I guess it looks fine. And I do like doing this little offset. See how I have the thumb here, but this part kind of like comes out a little bit? That's what this is. That's why I do that. Okay, now I just have to make sure that it's in that little round piece. Okay, I think that looks good. So we can take this down. This is kind of big. So you can just do clay and just do sub and just kind of get rid of it. That's fine. And then I like to take the palm and I like to take just regular clay again and just add a little bit here. So what that is we have the ball here and you have this piece. So I just add some here like that, nothing too fancy. Maybe I'll flatten out the edges a little bit of the box, make it a little less boxy. I usually don't worry about the back of the knuckles. Sometimes I usually just add those in at the end. Okay, so that looks fine. not bad. So let's take another look at my hand. And the only other thing is right at the wrist, this part goes out. So right now there's like the wrist is here, but the thumb is up there. So what that tells me is I just need to spread this out and bring it more. So maybe I even need to make the thumb a little bit smaller, but I need to make sure that that's wide enough. To go right into the wrist. So that's pretty good. So I'll just smooth out the rest of this because the thumb should go right to the wrist. So that looks good. Okay, let me just look at the length. The length looks okay. Maybe a little bit more on this. You don't have to do all this detail, but I can't help it but to do all of this detail. And I feel like I wanted a little more. Yeah. That feels better. Okay, so our hand is looking decent. We can really just try to voxel merge them together. So this is essentially, we just blocked out the hand. These are all the shapes. If they were tighter together, I might voxel merge individually, but let's just see if anything sticks together. So I'm going to take all of them. I might as well just save. Hand, toot. So now we just voxel merge them together. So voxel remesh, 225. Let's just do 200 for now. So we remesh. Now it's one piece. If we go here, we see the hand is one piece. All of these are together. They look pretty good. And now we can just sort of shape the fingers. So if you look at your fingers, obviously it's not flat. It's just more shaped at the end. I usually just do the bottoms, the bottom part. And that seems to work for me. Something like that. Do the bottom part again. Normally I probably would take a little bit more time, but obviously I'm just kind of showing you how I do it. So I'm just sort of rushing. Hopefully it doesn't look like garbage, but I think so far so good. Actually haven't done a hand like this in a while. I usually like to make those like very cartoony, like Wreck-It Ralph style hands. Very blocky. I do like those. Why does this finger look so weird? I think it's fine. So remember that this part is like flat, so the flat part of the thumb is right here. And if your other fingers get in the way, you can just use select mask and lasso, and you can just protect everything. Then you're good. We go back to the flatten tool and just flatten this out. By the way, I have a new Skillshare class where I make a really cool chibi style character. One of my favorite character designs I've done, one of the most extensive ones. This is an advanced course on Skillshare, so as long as you, if you're doing this, you can probably do it. You just want to definitely have taken like a few beginners videos and been messing around with the app for a while, but definitely cool. So there we go. Let's clear the mask. I think that looks good. I'm going to paint it roughish white just because I like that better. So yeah, great. Looks good. The old trusty smooth tool. And we can go ahead and smooth our hand. And you can use smooth and flatten and stuff too. You don't really want to see this crease here, so just make sure you smooth that really good. And if you find that it's like getting a bit difficult to smooth, you can just voxel remesh it a little bit lower. Like I might do like 115. Just voxel remesh it lower until it becomes smooth and organic looking. And that's universal. Anytime if you want things to be smooth, then you can voxel remesh down lower. That will make your mesh more malleable. Okay, let's get these fingers, but I want to be careful because it is down quite low, so I might just voxel remesh it a little bit higher. So we'll do that, just so the mesh is a little more dense now, because I don't want to lose too much definition. Some definition obviously is meant to be lost, because that helps with the shape of the finger. Be careful with this one. Oh, it looks okay, actually. And I'll go back around and just kind of smooth these. Obviously, this is all one piece, so you can smooth it real good there. And now I think it's looking good. I think it looks nice. So now if you need to do any adjusting, you can take move. For example, this is a little wonky here. So I'll just take move and just sort of make it look a little bit better. I think that looks good. And if we really want, we can kind of make it a hand type color. Something like that. Now, if you want to put a lot of details on it, you can raise it. So maybe I'll voxel remesh it at like 250. So it's more dense now. And you can do things like you can take crease, and if you wanted to add some, like details to the knuckles, or something like that, you can do that. You should probably remesh higher, but you can also do, like if I was going to do nails, I usually do them like this. And then I might actually take clay or inflate, one or the other. And sometimes I inflate around the bed of the nail. I think that's the right term. So I just do crease. And then I'll take inflate and actually just inflate around the bed of the nail. Try to do these a little quicker. What's up, guys? Don't forget to give me a like. Really helps my channel out. I appreciate the support. Back to the video. You can also use clay too. I'm not sure which one I actually use or which one looks better, but inflate looks pretty good. Okay, so there we go. I want to make it a little more hand color. That seems all right. Make it a little more, oops, a little more rough. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. So now let's go into the materials and make it a subsurface. But we don't have any lights, so let's go here. Let's turn our environment off and turn one light on. We can turn it up. And I'll just do quick lighting. I don't want to spend a lot of time on lighting. I'll add another light, maybe from this side. I'll make that one a little darker. Nice little fill light. And then I'll add another light. And maybe this one is coming from like the other side. It just gives us a nice little glow there. That'll help with the subsurface. And maybe I'll make it warm. Ooh. Then we have another light, so let's just add it. Let's make this one cool, because why not? And let's make it a spotlight. And let's put it maybe under here or something like that. I don't really know what this light scheme is, but that's okay. So make it a little bit brighter. We'll bring that back the environment, turn it down. Not the best lighting, but you get it. Now, lastly, what I always do is we can do it on a new layer. So we'll get our hand, we'll make a new layer. We'll name it reddish. I always name it reddish. And we want to put some, we'll use paint. We'll make it kind of big. We'll use our color. We'll go to red here. Maybe we'll turn that down a little bit. And I'll just add a little red to the fingers. So add a little red to the fingertips. Maybe a little bit more to the rest of the fingers, to the rest of the hand, really lightly. Okay, I'll take smooth color. Smooth color is just the smooth tool with 0 intensity. You don't really need to do this, but I'm in the zone. So now we have a little bit of red there. And if you did too much, you can always take the layer and you can bring it down a little bit so it's not so red. So let's look at post-process. Let's look at our hand. It's not bad, but the lighting could definitely be better. That looks a little better. Let's see if we can adjust all these lights to make it a little more appealing. Ooh, that looks nice. That looks nice. And then we have this weird blue light. It doesn't really make much sense. But that's okay. So yeah, now we have a decent looking hand that we did. Oh, there's another thing too. Add another layer. And just grab the color. So like go to your color thing, go to the eyedrop, grab this color, and then go back to your color and turn down the roughness. So you have a little bit of gloss, maybe not too much, unless you want just a super manicured fingernails. Oh, and you can also make it a little bit lighter too. Make it a little bit lighter. I think fingernails are usually a little bit lighter. We'll raise the intensity up on this. And then you can sort of just color in the fingernails. I'll raise it up a little bit more. So I can't, oop, tool's a little big. So you get the idea. Obviously I'm doing not a great job, but you get the idea. A little bit wider and maybe a little bit more glossy. So you can see. But there you go, you see, like you might have to match the colors a little bit better, but that's just so to give you a little bit of difference with the fingers. Turn this depth of field down a little bit. Let's turn on global illumination, and let's take this hand and let's adjust the subsurface so it's a little more see-through. And there you go, not too bad for a quick hand. All right, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. And one more thing, if you want to add details, let's see if we can add some details. Not this detail, but let's add another layer. We'll call it text for texture. And then I like to use the brush tool. And let me go into these settings a little bit. So we're using dot, alpha. Okay, all that's okay. I guess this is all okay. We'll see. So we got to go to alpha and change the alpha to a texture. So the alpha is this image. This image should be a texture. So like if you had like a fingerprint texture, which I don't have. You go to the alpha, import photos, this, add. Okay, it looks good. Mid value, black negative displacement, white no displacement. That's what I would actually like. So this is mid value of 1. Mid value 1. Screen project and surface. I really don't know the difference, so let's see. Turn the intensity up a little bit. Ooh, look at that. Size is a little big. So what if I go lightly? You're gonna give me a fingerprint? No, you're just gonna give me some weird box. All right, so repeat. Repeat, maybe. It's not bad. Do I have to like subdivide again to get a really clear fingerprint? Is that what you're telling me? Even that's too big. It's not bad. It's a little tiley. It got a little tiley, unfortunately. I'm not sure how to mirror, maybe? I don't know. Let's see what mirror does. Mirror's decent. It still gets a little weird. So let's try surface. What is surface? Is surface better? Okay, I don't really see anything right now. So let's turn the intensity up. Oh no, I'm seeing some heavy depressions in her palm. So screen project is the best. I think we'll just do repeat. And I wish I could figure these out. That would be helpful. It's too big. I wish there was a way I could leave it this size, but I could like... It's not terrible. I'll just make it bigger because otherwise this will take forever. Oh, but it looks so bad when it's big. Maybe we'll make this one a little bit bigger. Anyway, not the greatest, but you kind of get the idea. I'd have to really mess around with it to get it perfect, but... So, I guess you just have to kind of get it right, I guess. You have to not go over the same part twice. I think that's the only way to get it work right. Get it to work right. Do we have Yeah, I guess it goes all the way down. It's not just on our fingers. Is it? I actually never really looked at that. Yeah, it's the same. That looks terrible. Wow. That looks good, but the tiling looks horrific. None? Do we need none? No, because none is even worse. It kind of works. Kind of works. Well, anyway, that was the long way, but you kind of get it. So it just takes some finagling. I'm not that great with texture, but it's fun to play around with. And hopefully that helped if you're trying to figure it out. Maybe you'll be able to figure it out a little bit better now. Thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out, really helps my channel out. Definitely check out my Skillshare classes. I have 2D classes in Procreate and 3D classes in Nomad Sculpt. Keep drawing, keep sculpting, and I'll see you all in the next video.